Alright, now we've learned how to basically set the water column on the on your gas valve. Now, part of setting up a furnace, after you've installed the furnace is all installed, and you got your ductwork and you got your return tied in and you're all set up, you have to make sure that you put your manometer on your gas valve and you have 3.5. Why is that so important? Because too much gas and you'll have too much temperature going over your exchanger, which will kill your exchanger, and not to mention it will run a high gas bill. Not enough, and the furnace will hardly even burn enough to even make temperature. You won't even, I've seen it where they've been so low that they didn't even burn the oils off the exchanger, and after I set the 3.5, went back after somebody, the furnace started working properly. It never even got hot enough to burn the oils off the exchanger. So for efficiency, and because you don't want to send too much across that exchanger, you overheat the exchanger, it will crack. Okay, and then there'll be holes in it. What happens is gas goes in through the bottom, goes around this, and comes out up here and goes out the flue pipe. And then the air is actually blown up underneath it, coming out the top and going out your plenum on the top of here. So if these get holes in it, what will happen is the gas will go through, come out wherever the holes are at, and then it'll get mixed in with your supply air to the house, and you'll have carbon monoxide in there, and it'll ruin the life, and it will void the manufacturer warranty on the furnace. So that's why it's important to get 3.5 coming out of that gas valve. Okay, now let's say you've already checked your gas valve pressure, you've installed the furnace, you're running it, you're balancing it. What you have to do is you have to take a thermometer, and you put the thermometer down here at the bottom at the return air going into the furnace, and then the air is pulled across the exchanger, heated, and then thrown out the top. What's important to know here is that you have 75 going in, you have 130 coming out. Well, the furnace is designed to run between 40 and 70 degrees difference. Meaning, if it's 70 coming in and it's 30 going out, it's within the 40 to 70 degrees difference. That's probably okay and will run just fine. If you start pushing it up to 70, then it could kill the life of that exchanger. So you want to keep it down a little bit. You don't want to exceed it, but you want to stay within between 40 and 70. Now, what happens if you adjust your gas valve pressure, which here's your gas valve, and you put your manometer in here, you take this out, you put your manometer on there, and you read 3.5, but yet you put your thermometer, and this is very important, your thermometer must be 3 feet away from this heat exchanger, meaning you don't want to put the thermometer down here, you want to put it at least 3 feet away on the supply side, 3 feet away from the heat exchanger, into the ductwork somewhere, 3 feet away, because if you're too close you'll get the wrong readings. You got to at least be 3 feet away. And you're reading, say, you're getting you're getting 170 out of that thing. Okay, you got 70 going in and you're pumping out 170. Well, that's way too much. Okay, because at this point, pumping in 70 and pumping out in 130, I mean, anybody can do it. Figure it out with your fingers if you got to. 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. That's 60 degrees difference. We're running within our 40 to 70 degree difference. Now, if we were running at 170, we're way over our 40 or 70 degree difference, and what that'll do is it'll burn a hole in your exchanger, it'll crack, whatever, and you'll start getting flue pipe, you'll start getting carbon dioxide into your supply, and it's going to cause an issue. Now we've determined where we got to be within 40 to 70 degrees difference, air going in, air coming out, and we have a gas pressure of 3.5, but yet we still are exceeding the recommended 40 to 70 degree difference. We're pumping out 170. Well, now we got to look at the speed of the fan. You may have medium, low, high, low. You might have several different settings. So what you need to do is look at what setting it's on, and of course, if it's reading at 170, then we want to what? Up. We want to go up in speed. We want to push more CFM across that thing. We want to push more, we want to push more RPMs across it. We want to get more air across that coil, and that's going to bring the temperature down. So once you have adjusted your fan speed motor to match the differential to get it between 40 and 70 degrees, then you're good. So it's not just only gas pressure, we also got to get the right amount of air going over that coil. And we want to make sure we got our thermometers in the right spot so we don't get false readings. At least 3 feet away from the heat exchanger in the supply ductwork. And then your thermometer can go right where your filter is in the boot with the return air. And so if you're getting 70 and you're blowing out 170, then it's too high. You need to increase the amount of flow of air going across that coil. If you put your thermometer here and you're reading 70 and you're getting 130 out the top, guess what? Then you're right within your 40 to 70 degree difference, and it's fine and it's balanced perfect. So there you go. Not only do you want to worry about your 3.5 gas pressure, but you also want to know your RPMs and airflow across that coil. And that's how you properly balance a system. Okay, so you got your 3.5 on your natural gas going to your furnace, and you've put the furnace on the highest setting for the fan, and you're blowing as much air as possible, and you're still overheating. What can be the problem? Well, here's what I found to be the problem. What'll happen is these older homes don't have enough return air, or they've put carpet over it, or they set their couches in front of it. I even had one customer bought magnetic, it was like pieces of magnets, and she had it over her return air because she says she thought the furnace ran more quiet, and what it was doing was starving the furnace for air. So you have to make sure that there's enough return air, and that nothing is blocking it, or somebody put the wrong kind of cover on it and they've actually got it shut off with a regular register and have the damper shut off. I've seen all kinds of silly things. If the furnace doesn't get enough return air, it will overheat as well, even though you have it on the highest setting and you have 3.5 at the gas valve, and it's still overheating, and that's because you don't have enough return air. So you want to look at the house, the air coming down into the furnace, and make sure there's no obstructions, make sure there's enough cold air return, and then try to balance the system, because if you're at the highest fan setting plus you're at the right gas valve pressure and you're still overheating, that's the issue, and you need to correct it. So there's lots to look at and when putting a new system in and making it work properly. I hope this helps you, and I'm looking forward to making more videos.